Hello everyone. I wanted to look at some guitar chords, but what I would call abbreviated chords, or not fully stacked chords. So if we imagine when we normally play guitar, would play a bar chord or a chord, and would play all 6 strings or the 5 strings. But I want to look at abbreviated chords where we're just perhaps playing 2 notes of the chord. I've been working on an atmospheric sort of chill album, and these sort of chords work fantastically for that because they're quite open sounding. They haven't got the fullness of the massive guitar chord, so it leaves loads of space for your bass, your synths, if you've got vocals, drums, and it gives a much more open atmospheric sound. And it's also great for adding reverbs, delays. If you've got a shimmer reverb or a big room reverb, they sound great. I love these chords. So what I wanted to do is try and quickly look at how to play these chords, how we can use them with, I'm doing it in a major key, but in another video we'll do it in a minor key, how we can actually compose with them. But while we're at it, look at how a major scale is formed and how we can form chords around that major scale. So first of all, if we actually look at the chord, what I've done, I've written it here on the screen as well. So the only strings I'm dealing with here are the second thickest string, which is our A string, and the second thinnest string, which is our B string. So we're on the A and the B string. Now, playing these, I'd probably use your thumb and first finger on your the right hand, or if you're left-handed, it would be on the other hand, but it's on your picking hand. So your thumb and first finger, just playing those together. So we've got a 3rd fret on our second thickest string, which is the A string, and then the 5th fret on the second thinnest string, the B string. And that's a C major. It's the root of the chord and the 3rd. Now, if anyone's ever talked to you about, or if you've ever heard that sort of how chords are formed, the 3rd is probably the most important note rather than the root. Well, the root's very important, but next to the root, it's whether it's major or minor. If it's a minor 3rd, it's minor. If it's a major 3rd, it's obviously major. So this is what we would class as a major 3rd. So we're 3rd fret on the A string, so the second thickest string, and then a 5th fret on the second thinnest string, and we play those just together. That can ring on. That's a major chord, and it's just using the root and 3rd of the chord. Now, if I made that a minor, still in the same position, it'd be root and 4th fret. So rather than root and 5th fret, root and 4th fret, and just having that 1 fret or a semitone difference, it makes such a difference to the chord. So we've got minor and major. Now, what I want to do is, first of all, we'll look at a C major scale and how a C major scale is formed. I'll just get a draw tool here. What we've got, this is our root, or our note, our starting note, the tonic, but it's 3rd fret on the second thickest string. That's a C. And what we're going to do is move up to the 5th fret and 7, 8 onwards. So it's this bass string we're looking at. So we're going 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th and 15th. So we end up, if I just use my first finger, the tonic or root note, up to the 5th, up to the 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, 15th. If you've got an acoustic guitar, it's going to get quite difficult to get to that 15th, but I'm only dealing with 1 string at a time. Okay, that makes a major scale. So that's if you would, when you were younger, perhaps in class, you did the da, re, mi, la, fa, so, di, do, or whatever it is. You know, it's the normal Western major scale that we know. So now that's formed in tones and semitones. So what we've got to look on here, do you see this from the 3rd fret on our 2nd thickest string? It goes to the 5th fret, so that's 2 frets. That's called a tone. So if I'll put a T here for a tone. And then you can see here from our next note, the 5th fret, which is a D, to the 7, it's another 2 fret gap, so it's another tone. And then here, we've got 7 to 8, which is only a 1 fret gap. So we'll call that a semitone, because it's 1 fret. And you see here, a bit weird because we've got a page, we're going on to the next line, but 8 to 10 is a tone. Again, 10 to 12 is a tone. 12 to 14 is a tone. I'm calling it a tone just because it's got 2 fret gaps. And then 14 to 15 is a semitone. So we end up with tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So if you remember that, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Wherever you start that on the fretboard, you'll be able to make a major scale. So it doesn't matter if you start on the 7th fret. As long as you start with a tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, you can build up a major scale. So the starting note, you can try that anywhere on the fretboard. Okay, we're going to start looking at how we can make this into a song. So when you come on to, going into your DAW, you can actually start creating tracks. But one quick one I wanted to look at is each one of these notes has a chord that fits to it. And what I've done, I've actually written that over the top there. So if you can see here, we're in C major. So the first chord that's going to work with this on the 3rd fret is a major, and then we're minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Now we'll explain diminished, but for now we'll think of it as minor because we're using the root and a minor 3rd, so it's going to be the same as minor for now, but we'll get on to that. And then the last, again, which is the octave higher on the 15th fret, is back to C major. So there's quite a lot to take in with this, but if you do it in sections, so we know how to make a major scale, making tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now we know each one of these notes has a chord that fits with it. So we've got the first one with C major, so it's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, which we'll think of minor for now, and major, which is the octave higher, exactly the same chord, just an octave higher up the fretboard. Okay, so if I play these as major and minor, remember the major had the fret gap and the minor had no fret gap. They were next door frets, and we're just on the 2nd thickest string and 2nd thinnest, so the A and the B string. So we're going to start with major with the fret gap. We're going to move up to the 5th fret, and you can see it's minor. The 7th fret for the 3rd, which again is minor. We're moving to the 8 for major. We're moving to the 10 for major. We're moving to the 12 for minor. Then the 14th for diminished, but we'll think of it as minor for now. And we're back to the octave. Now, in theory, we can take any one of these chords and put them in any sequence. So we could start in C. We could move. We call these chords. You can Roman numeral them as well. So that could be chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, and so on. Now you've probably heard people when they're talking about songwriting, and they will call them like a 1-4-5 progression, something like that. That's what they're discussing. So chord 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to the 8's the octave. Okay, so but in theory, we can take any one of these sort of root and third chord, or abbreviated chord as I call them, and we can move. So if we chose, well, let's just try this. So if we let's choose chord 1, chord 4 perhaps, so we'll go, and then should we go to I'll tell you what, let's make it different. So let me just let's go, we're going to go chord 1, 4, 6, perhaps back to chord 4, I don't know, we'll try it. So chord 1, we're going to chord 4, so on the 8th fret, which is major. We were going to chord 6, which was, and then how about we go to chord 5? Oh, that works quite, that's nice. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 4, 6, 5, and remember the major has got the fret gap and the minor has got their next door frets, but we're still on the same strings. We're only dealing with the A and the B string. So we're starting chord 1, we're going to move up to chord 4, which will be on the 8th fret, 8 and 10th. Then we said chord 6, which is on the 12th and 13th because it's minor. And then we went back to a major chord for chord 5 on the 10 and 12. You can just move these around and find a chord progression that you like between major and minor. It's just, I thought I'd probably discuss these abbreviated chords with actually how they looked on paper as well. And also, while you're playing them, you could just play them and let them ring on for a bar, or you could actually make a rhythm with them by picking between them. They're really nice to slide between as well. And you don't even have to start on the root, you could start on the second thinnest string. It's totally up to you with that. So what I wanted to do is just show you how I use abbreviated chords. What we can do later on with this is have a look at it in minor keys, and also perhaps with the root on the 6th string, so the E string. It's the same principle, but the chord looks slightly different for major and minor. So, but for now, think about that A and the B string, so your second thickest string and second thinnest string, and just try and fret between them. So 3rd fret, second thickest string, 5th fret, second thinnest. And see if you can make your own chord progression using those chords set out in C major, and see how you get on. Okay, I hope that helps.